4-H camp is a blast.
I think 4-H camp is cool.
The most awesome experience of your life.
4-H camp is awesome and really fun.
While at camp, you'll take an educational journey participating in hands-on tracks like science, engineering, and technology, water safety, outdoor skills, nutrition, and much, much more.
I think it was one of the most fun experiences I've ever had in my whole entire life.
4-H camp is life-changing.
So 4-H camp is an amazing, one-of-a-kind experience that you'll definitely want to have.
4-H camp is awesome.
Hi, in today's activity, we're looking at the third part of our tower building series. Now, in the first two parts, we've looked at basketball tower and tennis ball tower. So in the first part, we built a basketball tower that was freestanding, self-supporting, out of just newspaper and masking tape. Okay? Unlimited resources. In the second part, the tennis ball tower, we added more materials, but we were limited on what we could use. We also added guy wires to the tower for support. Now in this third part, we're building what's called a bucket tower. And in this one, we take some of the same ideas as what we've looked at already, but we add a freely swinging structure to the tower. So similar to a bell tower, okay, if you've ever seen one of those, where the bell is able to move back and forth within the tower itself. So, if you don't have it already, go ahead and get your activity sheets out and pause the video. Take a few minutes to read over the quick explanation section on page 1 and 2, and then answer the pre-activity questions at the bottom of page 2. After you're done with those questions, hit play and we'll continue. Okay, now that you're done answering your pre-activity questions, let's take a look at our materials for this activity. So on page 3 of the activity sheet, you have the materials listed at the top. For this one, we'll need 20 straws. We'll need 3 feet of masking tape, 3 feet of string, 1 paper cup, meter stick, tape measure, ruler, and a pair of scissors. Okay. And then the other thing that's listed there are coins. Now it says pennies would be easiest. You could use any type of coin. You could also use something like these little glass aquarium beads. Something similar in size that will fit inside the paper cup. So now that we've taken a look at the materials, let's move on to the directions on the activity sheet. So the objective of this activity is to build a tower that will support and hold a weighted cup. Okay? And we have to use only the materials listed above. Now, on your activity sheet in step 2, there are a couple of design ideas already pictured. Okay? In a moment, we'll pause the video and let you sketch out some ideas of your own. Okay? But before we do that, let's talk about a couple of guidelines. Okay? So first, again, you can only use the materials listed here. Okay? You do not have to use all of the materials, but you can't use any extra amounts of the materials. The tower itself can be secured to the table, so you can tape it to the table. The bucket, the paper cup, has to be able to swing freely as from the tower. So it cannot be restrained or stuck on the tower. It has to be able to swing freely. Okay? The tower itself can be any height that you want it to be, but the bottom of the bucket, the bottom of the paper cup, has to be at least 2 inches from the tabletop. Now, let's go ahead and pause the video. Take a few minutes, sketch out your ideas. After you've sketched out your ideas, hit play and we'll continue. Okay, now that you've sketched out your ideas, let's take a look at one that I've already built. Now remember, there are a lot of different ideas that you can use for design. So this is just one example. So here we look at the support legs. We see that the string is attached to this crossbar. We've got the paper cup here at the bottom that can swing freely. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to attach it to the table and we want to test it out. So I'm just going to use some of my extra tape that I did not use to construct the tower itself to attach this tower to the table. Now remember, you only have a certain amount of tape to use. You don't have to use it all, but you don't get any extra, so be careful with your amounts. Now we want to make sure that all of the feet of the tower are secured to the table, okay, so that it's stable. So now we can see that the tower itself is stable, and before we put in our beads to test the bucket, we want to bring in one of our features from before, the guy wires, okay? So it's stable this direction, but we can see that there's a lot of flex in the tower this way. So we want to attach some of our leftover string to the tower and attach that to the table as guy wires. And we want to make sure that the strings are tight so that way the tower is secure side to side. Okay, so now that we have our tower secured, now we want to test how many beads it can hold. So I have some of the glass aquarium beads. You may use pennies or other coins. Okay? We'll place them into the cup a few at a time and test out the bucket's ability to swing. Okay, and we see that the tower is still secure. The bucket is able to swing with weight. Okay, so we can continue to add. Now my cup is about halfway full at this point. Okay. It is still able to swing. It's not collapsing. Okay. We can see that this guy wire over here is very tight, and the tape is starting to come off, so it's collapsing at this point. Okay, so we've gotten to our limit here. So let's go ahead and pause right here, pause the video, and construct your tower and test it out. After you've done that, hit play, come back, and we'll take a look at what happened. All right, so now that you've built your tower and tested it out, how did it go? How many pennies were you able to get into your cup before your tower collapsed? Or maybe did you fill your cup all the way? Okay. I went ahead and counted out the number of beads that I was able to get into my cup, and I got 37 beads, which is the equivalent of 148 pennies. So that's the mark to beat. We have just a couple more things to finish up for the day. A couple of reminders. Remember that these are the basics. You've learned a lot about tower design now. So try out different designs for the bucket tower. Okay? Maybe different materials, different amounts. Try to build it bigger. Okay? See how many coins you can get into that cup. Okay? Remember that you have some website resources in the quick explanation section of your activity sheets. Check those out. They have different design ideas, different challenges that you can do. Also, remember, take pictures of your tower. Be sure to post those in the comments. Post your coin totals in the comments. Remember, the mark to beat is 148 pennies. Okay? So, let us know how you did with that. All right, finally, remember to check out the link to our virtual program website. That's in the description below. Be sure to stay tuned for our next virtual set activity. That'll be coming soon. We'll see you then.